only one way to wake up in the morning.
How the heck are you?
Yep, that's it. Miller.
This could end the bro hug. That would be great for you because there is nobody worse at the bro hug than one David Moulton.
And Moulton.
I used to be. 2019, I found my bro hug crew.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
Oh, I like
It's up to you now. It's up to you.
I like it.
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this hump day? Yeah, the 6th of May in 2020. Thanks so much for being with us. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming foxsportsfm.com, broadcasting live once again on the Miller and Moulton Twitch and YouTube channels. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm good this morning. How about yourself, David?
I am doing okay. I am under orders from my wife, however, to wish our daughter a happy anniversary today.
Happy anniversary? She just had a birthday.
She did.
She packs everything in a short amount of time. She has always been a go-getter.
It was very convenient for us 2 years ago when she graduated from college, turned 21, and got married, all within a 9-day period of time.
Like I said, a go-getter.
Yes. Well, it's nice every now and then for the kid to make it easy on the parents. So 2 years already since they got married.
And I don't typically like friends' children on social media because I just think it's weird. But your daughter friended me on Facebook a while back because she had seen I'd been putting stuff up on the show, and sometimes your wife will share it. So anyhow, she friended me. And I find it fascinating. And you see it in all kids, but how your daughter has managed to really take the best attributes of both parents and combine them, because she does a lot of wonderful things for people. She has a good soul, which comes from mom. Which comes from mom. She is a very good soul. There is the little I see on social media, you can just tell that mom got to her and mom was able to put those granules in her to do.
Right. The heart, the soul, the good person part.
And then the snarky. That's you.
Right.
Because all of a sudden there's a dance video. All of a sudden something goes completely counterclockwise to what she posts, and it's snarky, and I see David Moulton in his daughter, and that makes me smile.
Yep. She got my head. So that she's got a big melon, and she got the jersey from me. That's what she calls it. She just looks at her husband and she goes, "Don't make me go all Jersey on you."
Yeah.
So, yep.
But
and the rest of her, that whole nice heart, soul, wanting to make the world a better place.
To a point.
Whatever.
Until you tick her off, and then Jersey comes out.
Exactly.
And that's terrific. So happy birthday.
Yeah. So
not that you're up.
So, yes. So she's now 23 and been married 2 years. Right. And whatever you do, don't be like Jim over at Jersey Mike's. And every time you see me, ask me whether or not I'm a grandfather yet, okay? This just in.
Not yet?
No, and I'm not in a hurry, all right? Not that I get a say in this, but not something that I'm in a hurry.
It is interesting because my cousin, who is a year younger than me, her daughter just had a boy. And so I'm seeing my cousin, who's not yet 50, all excited, showing all these pictures of her grandchild. Right. And I can't help but think, because my cousin, your wife, and I are all very, very close in age, that I immediately, when I see Colette with her grandson, because the only person that's close in my circle is your wife, going, how long before we get those?
I'm hoping a very long time.
Too early for the text number, David?
Well, Mark, now that you mention it, 479-5551. 479-5551. It was something when I figured out, I don't know how old I was, when I looked right at my mother's parents my grandfather and grandmother, and figured out that he became a grandfather at 45 and that my grandmother became a grandmother at 41. All right. When I figured that out, and they both kind of looked at me, and I just remember my grandfather, one of the nicest people ever. I mean, he really was a very dear, kind man. And it was one of the few times that my grandfather just growled at me, and he went, "Yeah, don't remind me." And he meant every second of it. And I was like, whoa, haven't seen that side of you, Grandpa. But so, yeah, because, my grandmother had mom at 20 and my mom had me at 21. So when I did the math and figured out, wow, you guys were 45 and 41 when you became grandparents. Damn, that was young. They both just kind of looked at me like, and at this moment in time, it's not a good thing.
No doubt. Well, fortunately for me, unless there's a mistake somewhere with my son in college, and he has been reminded not to make those kind of mistakes.
Right. It'll be a while.
It'll be a while.
Good.
It will be a while.
Good.
But happy birthday to your daughter. Another coronavirus birthday will happen.
Well, today's the anniversary birthday last week.
Yeah. You know what?
Exactly.
Order takeout. Nice takeout dinner tonight with your roommates and knock it all out.
Well, there's a taco place in Jacksonville that just opened up on Monday as well. So I believe they're going to try to head out because they're young, Mark. But they're going to do that sort of thing. As we found out on Monday, our poll question, 40% of those who listened to the show and chimed in on our poll question, they're going to go out and do that sort of thing, at least before the week is up.
And I will, too, at some point. I haven't really, like I said, I had the daughter out this week to do a little Mother's Day shopping, and watching the 6-year-old with the mask on is quite a sight. She's got learned that flip twist over the years, or the mask does not really work right. But it is, we opened
Does she
up.
like the mask?
She is very paranoid of the coronavirus in general. I have said I do not watch the news a lot, but you would have to be a moron to not hear the word and hear us talking about it. And so she has not really wanted to leave the house because she has heard us just speaking about it. And obviously at 6, you're a sponge. So when I said we have to go out and get a Mother's Day present, at first, the eyes were a little wide, but then she said, "Can I wear my mask?"
Yes. Let's make this fun, honey. Absolutely.
And when one of the ladies that my wife works with, who has been making masks, made one with kitties on it for my daughter to wear,
There you go.
I get to wear the kitty mask out. So that, other than that, hey, it was weird yesterday, David, because I think we had a pretty good vibe last week on the show.
Right.
I mean,
last week was a very positive vibe.
We were seeing the openings coming. People were excited about the openings. Just the fact that they got to do something. And I think by the end of the week, we'll have, 40 states that have had some sort of opening in some way, shape, or form. And there was, I thought, a genuine excitement, a good vibe on Friday. That Monday started, well, fine. And maybe it was just that by the time Monday ended, we had some bad things happen. Unfortunately, Don Shula passed. But then the news came out, and I'm not going to get into coronavirus stuff, but the numbers weren't good on Monday through the weekend. Through the openings, the initial reports were hesitant, to say the least. And I thought by yesterday, and maybe it was just you and I before the show, you weren't in the same frame of mind. I thought our vibe was off yesterday. And, well, maybe it was because we had to compare Coach Shula to Bill Belichick. And that seemed to really draw some ire on both sides. Because I don't know about you on Twitter, David, but I got some tweets that just said things like, this isn't even close. Belichick's a no-brainer. And then we got texts that said, how do you dare put Bill Belichick in the same sentence as a man like Don Shula?
Well, we just put them in a poll question, and we knew what we were doing. All right. We did. We knew we would elicit a response, a reaction both ways.
Kind of the point of a poll question.
Right. I mean, and also since the one is the all-time wins leader and the other is the active coach who is in hot pursuit of that record that, quite frankly, we thought would never be reached. I mean, they didn't think Hallis's 324 was going to be reached. And certainly when Don Shula posted 347, I mean, think about it also. When Don Shula retired, Bill Belichick had just been fired as head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And he had how many wins? 30 something? In his 5 years as head coach of the Browns. So, I mean, he was only about 315 wins behind Shula. I mean, that's all. And then he's not even a head coach for the next 4 seasons. So, no one thought that this record would be approached. I mean, think about it. The Marty Schottenheimers and the Dan Reeves, they get 200-plus wins. I mean, my goodness, they're a decade and a half behind Don Shula. And they're in like the top 7 of the all-time wins list.
And remember, Don Shula took the job at 33 years of age.
Right.
His first coaching job. I mean, that's the part of this. And that's why when a Tomlin got in the business, they would have to have unbelievable records to have a shot. It's why you marvel at what Belichick has done in the time that he has done it. You truly do. I know they play a couple more games and there's more playoff games, so he can get it in shorter years. But Don Shula coached for over 30 years.
Right. 33 consecutive years. 10 and a half wins a year. I mean, to think that there's somebody that even has a chance to seriously approach this record is remarkable. I mean, Mark, if you combine Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin together, they'd be 80 wins, I think, behind Don Shula. That's Cowher and Tomlin together. And they're a good 80-plus wins behind Don Shula. And that whole streak started in 1992. Steelers with 3 coaches since Nixon was president. That's unbelievable. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. And half of the Steelers faithful have wanted him gone for years.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he seems to be now on the chopping block every year. Won 8 games last year with Duck Dodger playing quarterback.
Exactly. And badly, by the way.
I mean, come on.
They went 8-8 with an 0-4 start and no quarterback. Right. What a bum. Can't wait till we have that 4th coach.
But yesterday, David, this vote was Belichick dominant the entire day. And it ended up being a hell of a lot closer than it ever was at any point during our show. Apparently, the older Twitter fan came out at night, David, because that makes the ultimate sense. Either that or they were voting heavily between 3 and 5 this morning. But Belichick wins close, 54-46, with quite a few votes on our Twitter poll question, but a lot closer. I thought that was 60-40 all day because of recency bias. But, somebody said Tom Landry should be on that list. No, actually, he shouldn't. Tom Landry was a great coach. But I think those are the two. And it was the fact that we weren't making a comparison of all time. Don Shula died. So It was who's the guy that you think's the best that's not Don Shula? Belichick. He's won 6 Super Bowls. That was really the basis. It wasn't to try to find 4 coaches and who you think's the best. We didn't put Lombardi or Hallis or anybody else on there. It was just simply the all-time winningest coach past. The guy who's won the most Super Bowls is active. That's all.
That was a lot of the national conversation yesterday, the Mount Rushmore of football coaching. Who would you put on it? If Shula and Belichick are locks, then who are the other 2? And, I think there are 5 that you could bring up, maybe 6 that you could bring up for the other spots that would be, legitimate. I mean, you could see where people would go Lombardi. Although the fact of the matter is that I believe he only coached 10 or 11 years.
But Lombardi would be, I think, would have to. I mean, it is the Vince Lombardi Trophy, after all. I do think that he probably deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of coaches. Seems to make sense to me.
The NBA championship trophy is the Larry O'Brien Trophy, and most people don't know who he is. But I get your point. But if you put Lombardi on the list, so just realize he was a head coach for 10 or 11 seasons. I mean, that's it. That's a very short time to put someone on the Mount Rushmore of coaching. Bill Walsh the same way. Bill Walsh did 10 years with the Niners. But there are some that believe that 3 world championships, 4-time coach of the year, kind of a revolutionary figure offensively in the history of the game. You could see where Hallis would be mentioned with 324 wins. You could see then where Nolan Landry.
Yeah, Nolan Landry. And look at when you bring up Walsh in the short time, and you bring up Lombardi in the short time, and I know he did both college and pro. I know you'll laugh at me when I say this, but Jimmy Johnson, the short run in Dallas and the way he revolutionized the draft, I don't think he makes the top 4. I think he's worth discussing. Like I think he's probably in the top 10, if you know what I mean. But when you talk about short runs, and you mentioned Walsh in the offense, and you mentioned Lombardi, I think you have to mention Jimmy, because in the short run, he did change the way we deal with the draft, and that hasn't changed.
9 years total between the Cowboys and Dolphins in terms of his NFL career. And I think you could also mention Paul Brown. Like when I said there was 5, I think there's 8 coaches that you would debate as to who are the Mount Rushmore of all-time NFL coaches. I think we mentioned Shula, Belichick, and then Lombardi, Hallis, Walsh, Noel, Landry, Paul Brown. I think of those 8, then you come up with your Mount Rushmore. Mark said, he thinks Jimmy Johnson deserves debate. I don't think for Mount Rushmore, but I've always thought, he's finally going to go in the Hall of Fame whenever it is they have the Hall of Fame ceremony this summer or fall or whenever it's going to be. But I thought Jimmy should have been in the Hall of Fame long ago. And the fact that Jera went in before Jimmy, I just think is a disgrace. Although Jerry has had some nice drafts lately. He has. And I do like his Andy Dalton signing. And I do love the boat. I mean, if I was Jera, I would announce for the rest of my days, I would do the draft from the boat. I thought that worked. Thought it looked good. Thought it was styling.
Yes. What part of being on a boat, when it's that kind of a boat, sounds bad?
479-5551, 479-5551. We did not take part in a debate that I guess has been going on for over a week now in the state of Florida, in certain pockets of the state. We did not participate in it. But, the Dolphins drafted this Tua guy.
Right.
And I don't give a whole lot of thought to this, but he wore a certain number in college.
Right. I nearly puked when I saw people talking about it.
Well, Mike Bianchi wrote a column about it. And Mike Bianchi is one of the 3 most prominent columnists in the state. And so it gets picked up outside of Orlando. And then the debate begins. And we have had this discussion in college where certain numbers have been retired. I mean, didn't it happen a couple of times recently at Michigan?
It just happened with 3 guys. And basically, the player said yes, or the family said yes. There was one. Right. I know we went through this, and there was one that happened. Gosh, it was like a D2 school almost, or a North Dakota. But it's the grandkids were the one that said that would be fantastic for people to honor the legacy of our grandfather. And that's when I went, well, damn, if they're fine with it, how do I say it's a bad idea?
And didn't in the last couple of years, wasn't there a recruit at Michigan and he wanted to wear a certain number? And wasn't it the former Supreme Court Justice Whizzer White who wore that number, and that number's retired? And I think the family was okay with it.
Yes.
And so, my inclination is the number stays retired. But if the family or if the actual person is alive and his number is retired is fine with it, well, then, who should somebody like me be to say, oh, you can't be doing this? And so, obviously Miami had a fairly famous number 13 play football for them for a few years.
I thought you were going to say Miami had a football team.
And he's very much alive. And so there was this debate as to whether or not the Dolphins should even ask Marino.
There's only one way that Tua should wear 13, and that is if Dan calls whoever it is to be whoever's in charge of Miami and says, I want Tua to wear my number. And that, in all seriousness, should have been done if Dan believed it. He calls them up before the draft and say, I don't know what you're going to do, but if Tua wants to wear 13, I'm good with it.
Now, to everyone's credit, I don't believe there was anyone ever approached Dan Marino.
No.
I don't think Tua wanted to wear the number. I think this was a media creation.
100%.
But I thought that Tua was going to end up wearing number 3. He was number 13 in college, and I just figured he'd be number 3. And then you would have the comparisons to, there was a rather famous number 3 in Miami who was taken 5th overall in a draft, and his name was Dwayne Wade. And so I just thought there'd be a nice little connection there. And, and if everything works out well with Tua could become the next dominant sports figure in South Florida, in which, if you think about it, who was the dominant sports figure post Dan Marino? It was Dwayne Wade. And turns out Tua's not going to go with number 3. That's not going to be his number. We will tell you what number Tua is going to go with on the other side, with the starting 5 here on Miller and Moulton. And we even know what our poll question is going to be.
Look at that.
I mean, man, oh man, we are on top of things. On this hump day, the 6th of May, it was 8 weeks ago today that Rudy Gobert tested positive for the coronavirus. 8 weeks, not 8 months. 8 weeks.
Just feels like 8 months.
Exactly.
Because you've gone through what seems to be 8 months of your savings account in 8 weeks.
At least. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. The starting 5 is next on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
So I fell asleep last night watching Bill Maher from Friday.
Yes.
He had on, I wish I could think of his name. I think Chris is his first name, MSNBC guy. And
former NBC, was it Chris Matthews?
No, I know him. Younger guy. But anyhow, this guy, I mean, I was just shocked. He's like, yeah, I don't know what we're doing. He goes, we need to open up. He goes, just started going through the numbers and talking about Sweden and why we're doing this wrong. I was like, whoa, just didn't expect it out of that guy. It was an interesting conversation.
Even in my 80s, every dive is exciting and enjoyable. When I developed
well, I will say Sweden's numbers have gone skyrocketing.
You can have the best gear and know the best dive spots.
But Chris Christie came out on Monday and basically said, hey, there's only one way to do this, and we're just going to have to put up with the death.
Well, but that was kind of this guy's point, too, is that, look, until we get to the herd immunity point, I don't know what to tell you. We have not, this doesn't work. What happens if wave 2 comes in? Do we shut down again for a month? He goes, well, you can't realistically continue this way. And he goes, you're not choosing, his point was you're not choosing lives over the economy over lives. You are choosing lives over lives. Because when people don't have money, that, they can't eat and they can't do and that was his point. And it was just a level-headed discussion. I was like, all right, that's a little better. But it was interesting because both these two who are left of center are on the same side of that, which I found fascinating.
Sports nationwide. Your local Towboat U.S. companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7.
It'll be interesting going forward.
Inland, the river to Lake and out 75 nautical miles.
I don't think it's going to go well.
Pricing starts as low as $99. Call 239-945-1664.
Hope it does, though.
Or visit towboatuscapecoral.com. With Towboat US, you're never
If
stuck on the
Shula,
You own a home with a
Spurrier,
tile
and
roof.
Bowden
You live between Port Charlotte and
are
Marco
the
Island.
Are
Hello,
3/4
I'm Jim Williamson with
of
Williamson
Florida's
Roofing.
Mount Rushmore
The
of
answer to
coaching.
either question is very likely your roof suffered damage
Who
from
is number
Hurricane
4?
Irma. That's not visible from the ground, and you may very well be entitled to a new roof for little or no money out of pocket. But you only have a 3-year window to make a claim, and time is running out. If you have a tile or
is
shingle
number
roof and live
4?
between Port Charlotte and Marco Island, call us. 239-283-2013. It's a free, no obligation inspection that can benefit you in the form of a new roof. Williamson Brothers Roofing, we deal with the insurance carrier for you. Call us at 239-283-2013. Again, time is running out. Call us at 239-283-2013. Williamson Brothers Roofing specializes in the claims process. We have experts standing by. We get claims approved. 239-283-2013.
Listen to the Dan Patrick Show at work.
Never boring, that's for sure.
Streaming 24/7 at foxsportsfm.com.
This is Brian Creel here with my son Trace from Creel Tractor Company. We are open for business and taking all precautions necessary. We have teamed up with Kubota Tractor offering curbside pickup for your parts and parts delivery. And the service department is open and ready to assist with...
Did we have 4? Howard, Pat, Jimmy, right?
Kubota is offering discounts on Kubota products and no payment...
And then I said Urban.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No. Oh, that you can't not have this without Urban on it. Come on, that's. And you have to vote for Urban. I don't know what to tell you.
And just
Love
make
that.
sure you look up the spelling of all these people.
I've got Schnellenberger right. I've got Riley right. Johnson's easy. Urban's.
Well, make sure you get Jimmy's first name spelled right. I always get it confused between the race car driver, who I think's IE, and then the coach, I think, is Y.
Yeah, he's Y.
Okay.
Yep, and you are right that an MEYER, right?
MEYER, correct.
There we go. Just got to make sure, because I am, for those of you not knowing on Twitch, I am far and away the world's worst speller. Worst. I am a terrible writer, and I'm a terrible speller, and it drives me absolutely bat-blank crazy.
Andy Enfield.
I know, isn't that great? That's funny.
That's funny. That's funny.
If there were a Mount Rushmore of Southwest Florida coaches, Sam Sirianni, senior and junior, Kramer.
No, not junior.
Okay,
Kramer.
Kramer.
It'd be Kramer. You know, John Webber won a state title.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
$29 minutes past 6 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com and, well, broadcasting live on the Miller and Moulton Twitch and YouTube channels. Having some fun already in the Twitch chat room. Good to see that people are in fairly good spirits in the chat room. You know, sometimes chat rooms can be a little snarky at the,
I need the chat room
as well.
I need the chat room because, David, I hate to say this, and you did it and you acknowledged it during the break. You have become a little more negative in the past 2 days. So we need a positive chat room to pick up one David Moulton. That's all.
I'm not negative on the show, though. I'm not negative on the show, but yes, I'm a little concerned.
That's your attitude has slipped.
I'm a little concerned. That's all. Last week, optimistic, positive, not to sound like, former President Bush, optimistic, positive, but this week, a little more hesitant, a little more cautious.
And that's all. You need the chatters. You need their positivity.
I do.
You need the texters. I might even have to figure out a way to get you the text line somewhere so you can get as much, be immersed within the listener as much as possible, because I know that makes you happier.
I just need more screens. You've got more screens than me. That's why you're able to do the chat room and the text line and all that. 479-5551, 479-5551, the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text and talk line.
Got one last night at around 8 p.m.
Okay.
That said, unbelievable show on this bittersweet day. Just listening to Pat talk reminded me of riding to the OB from Naples with my parents to those 80s Jets-Dolphins game. As a Freeman McNeil, Klecko, Gastineau fan, the ride back across the alley was never fun. Usually with inferior teams, Coach would always outwit Michaels, Walton, or any other Jets hack in the fourth quarter. Dolphins football hasn't felt that magical in 25 years. By the way, way more Mike Westhoff, please. And whenever Seth comes on, with or without him knowing, if you could put that wonderful bird singing while he talks in the background, it would be great radio. Happy Cinco, boys.
Wasn't that one of the little hidden gems yesterday between Jason Cole, who I believe lives in the Gainesville area, and Pat Kerwin, who's got a place here in the 239? Their two interviews, an hour apart, both had the birds in full voice.
Yes.
Going in the background.
Well, Pat goes to his outdoor patio for our interview every time he does it. Wife must be watching the news at that time, or it's coffee time, or something's going on in the Kerwin house, and she says, "Could you get out of here?"
Right. I don't want to hear you talking to them. And the birds, and he's a few feet up, too. He's more than 10, 12 feet up.
He is.
And, and you can hear them in full voice. During the break, this was just a couple of buddies of mine coming after me on my own personal text line and about the whole retired number thing, in which they are just, I know people who are just very anti the whole premise of a retired number, that they like it. They love it, in fact, when the quote unquote retired numbers are put back into circulation. And that, I know Yankee fans who hate it. If you think about it, there are no single digit Yankees ever again. That's it. All those numbers have been worn. They've come and gone. That's it. They're done. I mean, I don't even know. Can number 10 be worn with the Yankees? But I mean, I know 0 through 9 are gone. I mean, they're gone. You'll never see a single digit Yankee again. Now, granted, they've had more good players than any other franchise in North American sports history, but their numbers have come and gone. In fact, they've had the same number retired multiple times.
Well, that's my favorite with the Yanks, is the numbers that are retired multiple times.
Right. So, because I think like Rizzuto and Billy Martin both were number 1, I think. So, but they've got a few of those.
But anyhow, you're saying that your friends want the numbers back in circulation.
Yes. Whereas, and I will say this, and we'll get to the starting 5 in a moment.
No, Rizzuto was 10. You can wear 11 through 14, David, with the Yankees.
11 through 14.
And you can wear 17 through 19.
Think about it. 0 through 10 are gone. All right.
0 through 10 are gone.
15 and 16 are gone.
Yeah, 15 was Munson, 16 was Whitey Ford.
Right.
And Jorge Posada was 20, and they retired his number.
Right. So if you think about it, 21 numbers between 0 and 20, and you can wear 6 of them?
Yeah.
7?
By the way, 23's Mattingly, that's gone too. I mean, basically, you have to go deep into the numbers just to get something to wear.
Right. I mean, there's a reason that Aaron Judge's number starts with a 7. I mean, first off, he's built like an offensive lineman, but also, I mean, if you're the Yankees, you gotta go pretty deep into the chest there to where you start with your numbers. But I do think it puts, like, let's just say, for instance, that Tua had approached Marino. If you were Marino, don't you think that puts you in a bad spot?
Yes. I think the whole question puts Marino in a bad spot. I truly do. I think once it comes up, it's a bad spot.
Right. And it was not of Dan's doing. It was not of Tua's doing.
Correct.
It was not of the Dolphins doing. This was all a sports media creation. But the answer came late yesterday. And with that, time now for
the starting five. 5 big stories that you need to know. This is Miller and Moulton starting five. Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
Mark. Tua will be number one. Number one is what Tua will be. So there. Marino's 13 stays retired, and he doesn't go with the 3 from his number 13 in Alabama. He goes with number 1. I will say this, though, Mark, that the Dolphins put out a picture of Tua with the jersey on it. Do you know what jersey they had him wearing?
Aqua.
Yes, which has people all excited like, oh, are you going to go with the old school jersey? Please? You know, even if they don't go with the old school jersey, why don't they go back to the old school logo?
I can't help you, David.
No one likes the last 15 plus years, the new Dolphin. I mean, those of us who just, anyway. So Tua will be number 1. And also the Dolphins have posted, it is their intent right now to sell up to 15,000 tickets. Hard Rock Stadium holds around 65,000. They have a plan where they feel they can safely seat 15,000 for Dolphins games this year.
I know they're trying to get some type of accreditation for the cleaning that they're going through for the stadium. There are contingency plans, not just with the Dolphins, but throughout the NFL, it looks like, for refunding tickets, whether fans are at games or not.
Yes.
And that's something you and I have talked about a lot, David. You can't just force fans to buy tickets during this. You just can't. Even if you're going to allow fans at the games, you, as we have said nearly every day on our show, this is a time that you're going to have to really try to respect what others think, even if you don't agree with them. Because we are in so many different directions right now that the NFL, I love that they came out early and are already establishing a policy that is very fan-friendly, David.
Yeah, the policy is pretty simple when you think about it. If A, games are canceled, B, and or no fans are allowed, or C, it is very limited seating, then if your tickets have already been purchased, either A, through the team website, and or every way to buy tickets, even on the secondary market, with the exception of StubHub. StubHub has come out and said they will only refund your money if made by state law. But Ticketmaster and one other place has said that they will refund you your money. And the NFL, or you can, as we mentioned, Mark, or you can take your 2020 money and do what?
Well, apply it to 2021.
There you
go,
Mark.
I will say, who gets to go? I mean, the only thing about the Dolphins is that that's about a number of tickets they had sold prior to Tua, so they should be in good shape.
Come on now, they had a few more than that.
Not many.
Though.
Not many.
Not
How
like
many season tickets do you think they had?
Mark, we did the Dolphins Jacksonville preseason game last year,
right,
in Miami. There was no way there were 15,000 people in that stadium.
Well, I got you, but how many season tickets do you think the Dolphins have sold before they drafted Tua?
I'm going to say 23,000.
I think that's I had between 20 and 25 in my head. I'm right there with you.
Pre-Tua.
I mean, but pre-Tua, they basically could have pulled off what they're trying to do right now.
Right. So, yeah, it will be interesting, how at a college we've talked about, 91,000 can sit in the swamp. What will their limited seating be, and who, in fact, is going to get the limited seats, and how many do you leave for the students? I mean, you do hit them up pretty hard for student fees. I would think you'd have to take them into consideration.
Hell, at some of these schools, the student fees are what pays for your athletic department.
Damn right. The schedule's not getting released till tomorrow night. There is an early leak, though. We'll see if this is right tomorrow night. The early leak is that the season opening game on Thursday night, September 10th, will be Carolina at Kansas City. I know.
What?
I know. That's the early leak. We'll see.
No way.
In fact, I'm with you there.
No way. No
could-
Cam Newton. This is a team that might have the first overall pick. They're not putting them in Kansas City to start the season.
Mark, the only thing I could think of is the NFL thinks they could put any game on television and not waste a quote-unquote good opponent for the Chiefs, because that game's going to get a 20-something rating no matter who they put on.
And I will say this. Remember what Pat said yesterday. Now, I thought they'd put New Orleans there because if they're playing Carolina, I thought they'd put New Orleans in this spot. But Pat mentioned yesterday a contingency that he hears is out there and didn't confirm it, but said their talk of a 12, 14, and 16 game schedules being put in. Well, one of the things that they're saying with if they go to the 12 is eliminate what? The non-conference games.
So he said get rid of them early.
Right, schedule them early. So that's
be all the non-conference.
Right, so that's a non-conference game early.
Right.
I mean, that goes in line with what Pat's talking about, that you may see these first 4 games being all NFC, AFC crossover games because they may feel that they have to dump them later. And from a scheduling standpoint and playoff tiebreaker standpoint, they're not as relevant as conference games.
So we'll see if that turns out to be right, but that's an early leak to the NFL schedule, which comes out officially tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Did you hear about this Brett Favre story yesterday? Brett Favre apparently received $1.1 million in speaking fees from a Mississippi nonprofit. That nonprofit's under investigation for embezzling up to $94 million worth of funds. On top of it, Favre received the money and never did the speaking. Favre is not under investigation or facing any charges. Favre had no comment about the story. There was a report that came out Monday which basically outlines widespread corruption in Mississippi state government. I'm sure people find this shocking. A University of Minnesota regent came out yesterday and said, yeah, I don't see us having students on campus in the fall. Never mind playing sports. Well, that got a few people's attention, including at the University of Minnesota, which came out and then immediately disputed what this regent had to say.
Is that region aware of what this Big Ten network is?
I was going to say, apparently he hasn't gotten the whole memo about if we don't have kids on campus, we are Southern New Hampshire University. Our entire financial model breaks down. That's the key here. We're going to say they're coming on campus. We're going to get everyone to enroll. If we cancel later on, we'll figure it out. Keep your mouth shut. Word came out yesterday. We had talked about how Kansas and Missouri announced that they're going to play 4 years football home and home. It's the 4th oldest rivalry in the sport. And obviously Kansas and Missouri had agreed last year that they were going to resume their basketball series. And Kansas was miffed at Missouri for leaving the Big 12. Well, the biggest rivalry that we think has come and gone with the teams leaving the Big 12 for the SEC is the Texas A&M football series, which hasn't happened in 9 years. Well, remember there was movement all last year that both ADs wanted it to happen, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, apparently it's dead. This Texas A&M thing's not going to happen. I mean, why would you want it to, right? Only both fan bases want it to happen. I mean, they only hate each other. I mean, why would you want to play this game? And a third Michigan men's basketball player has transferred. It was a 6'7" freshman, Cole Bahima, who didn't play much, averaged 3 points a game, but it is the third to transfer from Juwan Howard's program, which, if you think about it, a lot of these guys were recruited not by Juwan Howard. And so after a year of Juwan, some of them may go, yeah, I'm not fitting into this the way I think I would have fit into Beeline system, so I'm out of here. So a third kid has decided to transfer from Michigan. Yes.
Can I add two? Do you mind if I make your starting five a Super 7?
Mark.
I'm supersizing, David. I am supersizing your starting five. Would you like to supersize that starting five? As a matter of fact, I would.
Mark, nothing makes me happier than to take what our original betting list is and add games to it.
One, it's not a transfer yet, but did you see the 4-star lineman from Florida, Isaiah Walker, entered the transfer portal?
I did not.
That's kind of a big deal considering that he was, he signed in the early signing period, and then he's already answered the transfer database, which I found interesting. And I brought this up on Monday just to, follow it up, David. At the West Florida tour, the West Florida Golf Tour.
Right, which was in Sarasota right on Monday.
The Spring Classic. Jazz Jane Watananan,
the number 39th ranked player.
39th ranked player in the world. He shot a 1 under par. He tied for 21st. He earned in the round $98.57 after having to pay to get into the tournament. And he is not a member of this West Florida tour. So he had to pay more money. He lost money playing in the tournament, basically is what I'm breaking down. His non-member entry fee for a one-day event was $260. He earned $98.57. But according to the story at golfcentral.com, that he bought a yardage book as well, so he lost a little more money. Daniel Chopra, who tied for 11th after shooting 68, made $305, but they figure with gas in the yardage book, he broke about even.
There you go.
Local Matt Hutchins tied Chopra with a 68.
Well, and Mark, we all know member fees, non-member fees. Good to see that it also applies to those who are on the PGA Tour. And that is the Super 7.
5 big stories that you need to know. This is Miller and Moulton starting 5. Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
At 12 minutes before 7 o'clock, Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Welcome to the program.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
I saw where ESPN had a poll question today, and it was greatest basketball player.
Maddie beat both Chopra and Jazz, and even Johnny Mack shot 1 under and tied Jazz.
Today, or the next couple of weeks.
The text when we found out were the text, our chat, group chat.
Right.
F those. But Maddie can play. I mean, even McNeil, when he played with Maddie, went, all right, this kid can play a little bit. He's killing all those guys, too. None of those, when are those other tours going to open?
Right.
He's a Latin tour player. He's got status in the Latin American tour. Just Miller and Moulton fan on Twitch. Corruption in Mississippi government. In other news, ice. It's cold.
Right. Absolutely.
Right, exactly. We got to get our poll question up. It's up. We got to get it out. Are you of the point now when you look on Twitter, do you get nervous every day of when you see a trend, when you look at what's trending and you see a name in there, like this morning, Tom Brokaw. I'm like, what? And it's nothing. It's like every day there's someone there that, and they all seem to run the same Denzel meme or same Denzel gif. What's.
See, I don't ever see who's trending on Twitter.
That's right,
for whatever reason,
no, you can't. No, you can't, because when you're on the mobile, what you have to do, and I actually use it a lot, David. If you go next to your, at the bottom where you've got the home and the search, and on, you know what I'm talking about? On the very bottom of your.
Right.
Okay, if you hit the search, that's where you go to trending. And you see For You, trending, news, sports. If you just slide to trending,
right,
that's the only place you get it.
And I never hit the search.
Well, it's not a bad thing. Just when you go to the sports and news, it does. There's stories there. I see stuff there all the time that I've missed.
Amazon Alexa. Just say Alexa.
Now, sometimes it isn't worth anything.
Fox Sports FM on TuneIn.
A big part of enjoying a good bike ride are all the sights you see along the way. So when David and I both developed cataracts, it didn't take long for us to do something about it. Turns out some of the best cataract surgeons in the world are right here in our area at Community Eye Center.
We really care about.
So we started watching the show Fleabag on Amazon Prime. I guess it's a comedy. It's British. It does make it tough because when they go fast, we have to rewind things because I have no idea. When I don't know what they say, she's like, Eve goes, "Can you rewind?" But it's all based loosely. It's based on the one girl who is just a whore, and she's married, or she's not. I mean, her sister's married, and the parents, and they're very British, and it's kind of third personish where she'll look at the camera and say something, and it's pretty good. It's very, David, it's very snarky.
Okay.
I mean, very snarky. But last night we decided to watch that instead of The Last Dance. And the back-to-back episodes we watched were very dark comedy episodes. Because I'm like, you want to watch Fleabag because it's funny? She goes, yeah, I'd rather laugh tonight. We watched an hour of that. Eve looked at me and she goes, well, so much for that laughing. 2 dark episodes.
Hey, Aaron Walker here. Super excited to announce the grand opening of the all-new giant used car outlet at Naples Nissan. Finally, you can test drive hundreds of previously loved cars, trucks, and SUVs all in one spot. Toyota, Ford, Chevy, Mazda, you name it, we got it. And hey, what's the best part about outlet shopping? That's right, you save tons of money. Over 300 vehicles, wholesale priced, and all backed by our exclusive unlimited miles.
So just while I was on this trending thing, while I like it, Bloomberg has an article. Your air travel experience will never be the same. And they merely say in the beginning, if you think arriving 2 hours was a bit of a pain, wait till you start flying in the post-COVID-19 world.
We got you covered there too. Come see us at the all-new giant used car outlet.
Good luck this fall, David.
Right here on Pine Ridge Road. That's exit 107 off I-75.
I have not watched Upload.
All offers with approved credit.
Comedy Drama Network.
Back to Miller and Moulton.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
No. This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
7 minutes before 7 o'clock. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. Seth Everett will join us coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. We got a poll question, Mark.
We got ourselves a poll question. Yes, we do. We kind of came up with this yesterday during the show and going between Shula and Belichick, but we can safely say that 3/4 of the Mount Rushmore of coaching in Florida is Shula, Spurrier, and Bowden. I think it goes without saying.
Yeah.
Who's the 4th?
Oof.
Our choices, Howard Schellenberger, Pat Riley, Jimmy Johnson, and Urban Meyer.
Oh, that last one's a doozy.
It's so delicious. It's really what it is.
That last one's a doozy.
It may be an acquired taste in Urban Meyer, but you know what the results are once you've acquired the taste. They're called national championships.
I am torn between Schnellenberger and Riley.
And you can make a case for every single one of these 4.
I actually think this is one of the harder ones that we've done.
Now,
let's face it, our poll questions are not usually intellectually challenging.
No, Oreos, double stuffed or not. I mean, that's a big time question on this show.
And we'll take your calls after the break, right? I mean, we understand it's the morning. We're not trying to emotionally or in any other way tax you. We're just trying to help you get your day started. But this one, I feel, actually makes you go, oh boy.
Well, and that's when we mentioned Lombardi of the Mount Rushmore of coaches. And you pointed out that it's 10 years. Well, that's kind of Urban on this. Urban's run in Gainesville is incredibly short.
6.
But it's incredibly memorable.
Yeah.
On a lot of fronts.
They hate him, and they don't want anything to do with him. But it's funny. They want to keep those 2 titles.
Right.
Yep. Brought him in as a hired gun. He did what he was brought in to do.
And we hate him for it.
And he left. Listen, it ended badly. It did. I mean, it did. To me, Mark, this is the X.
Well, this is actually the Hollywood marriage, Dave. It's not just the X. This is, name the 2 biggest beautiful people in Hollywood, and it's Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
Okay. All right. I was even thinking, since he was here such a short time, that it was Brad and Jennifer.
Okay. Either way, they're all beautiful. We're not going to argue that.
Right. And, it ended badly. I mean, it did. It was Brad's doing. He ran off with somebody else. It ended badly. But, she seems okay with, how long it lasted. Loved having him in her life. She seems okay with it. Everybody else was bent out of shape about it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, it ended badly. It did. How about those 5 years before that? How'd that go? How about that record against Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida State? How'd that go? Really? You hate him that much, huh? Okay.
But right now, we are in a dead heat between Jimmy and Howard, with Pat Riley second and Urban Pat Riley third and Urban in last for the moment.
Nice to see the Canes fan coming out of the woodwork to say, yes, the 80s. They were good to Shula. They were good to us. Miller and Moulton on this Wednesday.
Take your comments on the coaches. You can vote. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or go to millerandmoulton.com, which is going to be looking really good really soon. Saw a mock-up last night. We are close. We are very close. I'm hoping by Monday we unveil a new website. Hour number 1 in the books. Back for more on Fox Sports Radio. Thanks so much for listening to Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv and YouTube.
We've got our good friend Tim Meister, owner of the Floor Meisters in Naples, on the phone. We're talking about their huge selection and great pricing on Core-Tec flooring. Tim, tell us what's new at the store.
Right now we have 90 colors of Core-Tec in stock, ready to go pick up.
Kevin Colbert wanted 3 extra rounds in the draft this year.
On up with lifetime warranty.
And it's not just the many colors of Core-Tec.
You wanted it to be 10 rounds?
Yeah.
Core-Tec products as well.
We also carry the Core-Tec stone product. Looks like tile, looks like stone, but it's Core-Tec, so you get the softness, quietness, and the easy installation to go with it. We also have Core-Tec wood, look of wood, real wood, but with a more stable core.
Somebody texted, why isn't Dungy on the list? I think we could do this segment and on the coaches that are on the near misses if we wanted. Is there a list of people other than Dungy that would be the next group?
Well, I guess you could put Gruden. I mean, he won a Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, I think it's real easy why we don't have Tony Dungy on the list. He didn't win He didn't win.
No. I'm with you.
We became really good friends.
He just said, he goes, I know he won a Super Bowl and it's worth a mention. I think he's worth a mention.
Coach of the 1972 undefeated team and Pro Football Hall of Famer.
And this guy says, don't forget about Billy Donovan. Like, that was another name I thought of yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I just thought it's, we're going to get a few of these right now. I thought it was just a segment.
I will say we stayed with football. All right, we
have Pat Riley on there. No, we didn't.
That's true. Yeah.
No, we didn't. We didn't at all.
No, Billy Donovan. Yeah. Probably should have had Donovan in the question.
Over who? Who you taking off?
Since 1972.
Hoops in the hallways, battling in the break room, and target practice in the urinals. WFSX-AM from the Rock to downtown Fort Myers. We are Buckmore. Here's what's trending now. Brought to you by the Center for Men's Health. C4MH.com.
Huh.
Hey, anybody that's in here by the way. Just very curious, because when someone subscribes, whatever, I have every damn notification off to my knowledge, and yet I still get these noises when someone either ghost hosts or subscribes, and I don't know why. If any of you are veteran Twitch people and can point something out to me, I would really appreciate it. You seem to be a lot smarter about this crap than I am, and unless, David, do you know how to do that?
Every time it happens, I just make sure it's not coming from my end.
No, it's like when we get a ghost. Oh, no, we haven't mentioned the finals in the binge-worthy bracket because I don't even know where to find it right now. It's still up on the damn website. Do we still have a website?
We do.
There's got to be Sopranos and Seinfeld. Sopranos and Breaking Bad. This could end the bro hug. That would be great for you because there is nobody worse at the bro hug than one David Moulton.
And Moulton.
I used to be. 2019, I found my bro hug groove.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Oh, Sopranos beat Seinfeld. That's why.
Goldberg-law.com.
It's up to you now. It's up to you. I like it.
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
As we approach a couple minutes past 7 o'clock on this Wednesday morning, it is a hump day edition of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming this and every show on the station at foxsportsfm.com. We're broadcasting live once again on the Miller and Moulton Twitch and YouTube channels. Thanks so much to the many of you who are chiming in the Twitch chat room. You can chime in via the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text and talk line at 479-5551, 479-5551. If you miss any part of this or any Miller and Moulton, we podcast every single hour of the show. They get their own Connecticut cast, thanks to Connecticut, the best damn water that we have ever had. And in this day and age, their reverse osmosis system, not only does it produce the best water, you don't have to go to the grocery store and buy bottle after bottle after bottle. Connecticut makes it for you in the comfort of your own home. Connecticut 908-2300. We are getting, I don't want to say pushback, but we are getting suggestions saying, hey, think maybe you might have missed a few people that should be in your poll question.
Yeah, and I think it's fair. Yesterday we kind of went through this and went through some rather quickly when it's so easy to get the first three, to get the Shula, the Spurrier, and the Bowden. But I kind of joked yesterday when you came up with Urban, I almost came back and said, does that mean Jimbo gets on the list? I mean, you know, when we say Urban, we poke the gator, and we don't. Yeah. It's not intentional, but when the conversation comes up, it is. It's very much intentional because he did a great job, and you knew he was a hired gun. But Jimbo, we haven't really gone there much because the Florida State fan is still in such agony of the demise of the program after that you feel like you're kicking someone when they're down.
But it is interesting. You know, Jimmy Johnson, he only coached 5 years at Miami. He won 2 national championships. Urban coached 6 years at Florida, won 2 national championships. It is fascinating how differently the one fan base feels about the one guy versus how the other fan base feels about the other. I mean, Jimmy left to go to the Cowboys. You know, Urban left a year later, ended up at Ohio State. Nobody could have seen that coming. I mean, come on. When Urban retired, Jim Tressel was as firmly entrenched as the head coach of Ohio State football. I mean, the president of the university had just uttered the famous line, okay, worried about firing him. I'm worried he'll fire me.
Gordon Gee. I'll never forget his name because of that line.
And we all said, that's funny because it's true. And then 5 months after Urban says, I'm out of here, we all saw Jim Tressel going down in flames because of a tattoo scandal, right? Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. You want to blame Urban for that? All right. Yeah, blame him for you not winning the Powerball then, too.
So,
come on.
Some of the texts that have come in, you know, someone mentioned Dungy. and said, I know he didn't win a Super Bowl, but should he be mentioned? And all I said was, who do you take off? I don't think Dungy deserves to be in the top 4, but he would be in the honorable mention of the guys that didn't get on this list. I don't think you could argue that.
Yeah, I mean, he's worthy of discussion.
But if he's on it, well, then that means Gruden would have to be on it because he won the Super Bowl in Tampa.
Although you talk to a Bucs fan, and you get very few Bucs fans who hold Gruden even in the same area code as Dungy.
He's their urban. I mean,
right?
He's their urban. To a diehard Bucs fan, they feel largely the way about Gruden as the way the Gator fan feels about Urban. Yeah, we brought him in. He was a hired gun, but he's not one of ours, if you will.
Right.
And
How
even
funny
though,
is that?
yeah, and even though Gruden's made Tampa, now he's in Vegas, but I mean, Tampa was home. He never left here.
Also, Gruden coached longer than Dungy. Dungy spent 6 years in Tampa. Gruden spent 7.
Couple of others that came in. Billy Donovan.
That's a tough one for us because Billy Donovan probably should be on the list. But as you said to the one person, okay, who you taking off? Probably have to take off one of the Canes coaches.
Which one you going to take off?
Yeah, I know. Schnellenberger only had the one, but it was the one.
Right.
It was the one.
But if Shula is responsible for Florida football, for the growth of football in Florida, he turned Miami from a little sleepy beach town into the Dolphins, and Florida got behind it. I thought Dan Lebitard, who wrote a guest column for the Herald, did a terrific job of just explaining he and his father's relationship with the Dolphins, the Cuban community with the rest of South Florida coming together. I thought he did a really nice job of explaining in great detail what it meant to Miami. And I thought it was well done. But if he is that to football in Florida, then Schellenberger is that way to the Canes. He started it. It's his baby.
Absolutely.
You don't have Jimmy without Howard. You just don't.
No. Well, Jimmy followed him.
Right.
Number one, even though he won 2 titles to Howard's quote unquote just one, but also it was the one. It was the one that got it started. And they beat a team that going into the game, people were discussing as the greatest college football team of all time.
We got another one in here. And most of you are going to go, who? But John Tortorella. He did pretty well with the Lightning.
Won a cup.
Yeah. Did win a cup.
Which they haven't won before or since.
Won a little over 500 with them. He was there 7 years. But it is interesting. I mean, he won a title. Now, I get it. He's not part of the first 4, and I don't know if he's part of the next 4. But if we're going to bring up Dungy, who never won a title.
And yet Bucs fan feels because they had been a grease fire for 15 years, and Dungy made them, they could be proud to say they were a Tampa Bay Bucs fan again, and that's why he's held in such high regard, even though he couldn't win the game. And we've gone over this many times, Mark. For whatever reason, Bucs fan feels that they eventually were going to win one with Dungy, and they basically robbed Dungy of his moment by bringing in Gruden, where we insist, no, actually the owner got it right. They weren't going to go any further under Dungy. He was offensively challenged. He wouldn't make the changes that he needed to make, and that's why they got rid of him. And
the
that's
only
not
reason,
just our opinion. That's the opinion of John Lynch, Warren Sapp, and Derek Brooks.
And we'll take their word for it.
Right. And they love Dungy. Love him a lot more than they care about Gruden.
Well, and that's the other side of this. The fans love Dungy more than they love Gruden because not only did Dungy take them to relevance, it's hard to argue that he didn't do it anything but the right way. Yesterday, people got angry that we had Shula and Belichick in the same sentence because of the difference in what people feel the integrity of the man is.
Right.
That really bothered some old Dolphin fan yesterday. Dolphins fans.
We get it. And we knew it when we were putting the question out there that we were going to elicit that kind of response. But also it was a very personal question. We asked you, which of these coaches would you want coaching your team. That's literally how we worded the question.
And we were very specific for a reason because of what these things are. But I think you can apply the same thing to the Dungy Gruden. Is that Dungy, in everybody's eyes, did things the right way. He's a good man, maybe a great man. I mean, Tony Dungy's a good person. And when you come out of the ashes and become relevant, and then you do it, quote unquote, the right way, people's perception of you is far greater. And that's why I think Dungy is held in the regard that he's held in the Tampa area.
Although I'll tell you what, the losing of the last 10 years did make people feel a little better about Gruden. When they finally put Gruden in their Ring of Honor there were a lot more cheers than there would have been a few years earlier when his record hadn't changed at all. But the Billy Donovan one, that's a tough one for me too. I was a huge Billy Donovan fan. And people forget also he took him to 3 championship games. Lost the game to Michigan State, Izzo's only title, and then obviously went back-to-back, went to like 7 Elite Eights, I mean, including 3 or 4 in a row there. I mean, just did a tremendous job. Made the Gators more than what even the most diehard of Gator fan thought their basketball program could ever be, and he overachieved.
Think about what Donovan did at Florida. You're still pissed off as a Florida Gator basketball fan because you've underachieved really largely since. I mean, last year you're supposed to have a really good team. Now, the season got canceled, but I know from looking on Twitter and Facebook and just seeing the angst of Gator fan who now expects their basketball team to be good all the time. And they largely are, but they've underachieved. They gave the Gator fan a taste of the real success. And now they want a piece of Kentucky. Now, they'll never be Kentucky. But think about the Gator. From the time we've lived here, David, the Gator basketball program didn't matter when we got here. Even when they went to the final against Sparty. It was great, but they were fired up for the next football season.
They were, but also it was upstart. It was out of nowhere. It was like viewed as one step above Cinderella, even though they were a 5 seed. Right. Because they did not think that this was going to be a semi-regular occurrence. They thought at the time, this is awesome, but this is probably just a singular moment in time. And then Billy said, no, actually, this is the start of a program here. You wait to see when we get this sucker rolling, what this is going to turn out to be. Donovan, he should probably be on the list. But I'm having trouble taking someone else off it. Do you just put Billy Donovan ahead of Riley? See, to me, the Heat are not a viable franchise without Pat Riley.
We should have put Billy on instead of Urban. But this question wouldn't be nearly as much fun to the two of us if Billy was on instead of Urban.
Sorry, it's Miller and Moulton show.
We're sarcastic. Anybody just figuring that out for the first time, I'm sorry.
Right. There's the snarky part of Miller and Moulton right there. It's D, Urban Meyer. All right. Sorry. Come on. I know these are tough times, and we've been very optimistic. We've been very upbeat. We realize what you need in your morning show, but come on, you got to give us a little snark.
Yep.
If that's our only moment of the week, you got to give us D, Urban Meyer.
I mean, that's our frozen Oreo. That's our Cheez-It. We need something. Okay.
Right. Come on.
That's all there is to it.
A little something for the effort, too, occasionally.
It's
479-5551.
It's really easy to figure out which one to take off. We know which one to take off.
We do.
We're just not going to.
Come on. He won 2 titles. And you guys still hate him. Oh, boy. Tell you what, couple more losses to Georgia. Let's talk about how much you hate him, okay? 2 more losses in a row to Georgia, and then let's talk Urban Meyer, shall we?
Oh, boy. And you just said it, David. 2 more losses in a row to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And Gator fans going to freak out because they know they had a little time for Mullen to try to get this going. And I think they all feel reasonably confident about the direction that the program is heading.
Oh, yeah. No. They think he's a very good coach. There's back-to-back top 10 finishes. No. He's turning Florida back around.
Right, but back-to-back top 10.
Climb some mountains,
right,
though.
Back-to-back top 10 finishes still put you 4th in the SEC at best. That's the hard part.
And second in the East.
Right.
Also, let's just, okay, this is good. All right, we're back where we should be. We're in the discussion. That's great. Yeah, we got to get back to Atlanta, though. It's been, 2015 is the last time we were there.
But you're second in the East. And if the Dogs get you 2 more years in a row while this is a rebuilding stretch for Georgia, who has just sent player after player into the first round of the draft, and they've lost their quarterback, 2 tackles, 2 running backs, a bunch of receivers. And if they go out and get you again this year, then Dan's in a different spot come 2021, David.
Yeah, heck with this coronavirus. All right, let's talk the real issues of the day. We can't beat Georgia. That's serious. That's not just something you could get a vaccine for. This is, come on now.
Something else that has been serious for a lot of people has been their TV watching habits over the past couple of months, and that was the reason we got into the binge-worthy TV brackets, and we are at the finals. The Sopranos versus Breaking Bad is the finals of the binge-worthy bracket, presented by Jimmy P's Chard, Franz Eye Care, Brooks Gourmet Burgers, and Kobe Cooling. Go to foxsportsfm.com to vote.
So the comedies made it as long as they could.
Well, yeah, the
Seinfeld
Sopranos went up
took
against Seinfeld. I mean, that Seinfeld just ran up into a buzzsaw. When you come up against Tony Soprano, the odds are you're going down.
Well, people are getting hurt.
Right.
That's true. That is true.
And Breaking Bad took down Game of Thrones. Seinfeld, the only non-number 1 seed to make it to the Final Four. All 3 1s and a 2. My kind of bracket, David.
Well, you came up with the bracket, and it really was your kind of bracket, 3 1s and a 2. Because there's nobody who's more chalk when it comes to the brackets than Mark Miller. So it's good to see that your binge TV watching bracket went very much according to form. FoxSportsFM.com and vote Sopranos versus Breaking Bad, the most binge TV watching show of all time.
David, Sean in our Twitch chat room asks this question, and I'm curious of your answer. If Mullen's career hinges on beating Georgia, I don't know if his career hinges on beating Georgia, but if he loses 2 more against the Dogs, all we're saying is that the Gator fan base, which is optimistic right now, is going to turn on him. But he says if Mullen's career hinges on beating Georgia, and I think it hinges on going to Atlanta, Sean, which right now that means beating Georgia, UF will never be able to hire a good coach again. No, UF will always be able to hire a good coach. They're a top 10 program in the country with unlimited resources and lots of money. But
well, first off, even if he struggles to beat Georgia, he's not going anywhere. I mean, does anybody see Dan Mullen going somewhere? Even if he loses a couple more in a row to Georgia? I don't.
No, all we said is that the optimism will turn into angst. If 2 more years go by and the Dogs and the Dogs go to Atlanta 2 years in a row and the Gators are sitting watching, the fan base that is optimistic now will become angry.
Oh, no doubt, because they've already lost 3 in a row. I mean, remember, Dan's 0-2, and they got McElwain on his way out the door. I mean, that was his last game as Florida coach. So Kirby's won 3 in a row here. So, he makes it 5, and all of a sudden this becomes Tommy Tuberville against Alabama. Oh, yeah. Remember what happened there? Yeah. Absolutely. But, hey, it's just nice to have this thought process. It's nice to get back to angst, rivalries. And because that means that they're playing, Mark. That's, in a way, all right, it'd be okay for me if Florida loses this year to Georgia. You know why? It means they played.
There is no doubt. And, I'm still of the opinion we're playing in the fall. I don't know about college football. I cannot figure out what's going on. I mean, I believe they're going to play on Saturdays, David. I just, with every day that goes on, I'm trying to figure out how. Because, as we've said, we're not trying to mix politics and economics and sports right now, but you have to. Because the colleges aren't going to let the kids back on campus 100% for just safety reasons. There is the future of college could be at stake right now.
Absolutely. The business model for colleges, never mind college athletics, colleges depends on kids on campus in dorms. And if they're not on campus in dorms, then the University of Michigan becomes Southern New Hampshire University. I mean, literally, that is what is at stake here. So I believe that the general student population is the equivalent of the mules that run drugs. All right? They are needed in this equation. They just are. And it's just a matter of how far will the adults go with the students to accomplish what it is they need to accomplish.
What was it, the University of Minnesota, someone on the Board of Regents?
Yes.
Came out and said, I don't know how we're bringing kids back on campus. And everybody basically told him they had to issue a statement to say he had no idea what he was talking about.
Right. Don't know who the guy is, actually. It just, how did he get on this Board of Regents? Have no idea what he's talking about. Yes.
That's not about safety. It's about money.
Right. And this could all be a charade. This could all be the universities right now just getting all of their classrooms and dorm rooms filled up. And then they may all turn around in August and go, hey, I don't know what to tell you. It's not safe. We can't bring you on campus. And then they'll figure out plan B from there. But right now, it is full steam ahead. The NFL tomorrow night's going to announce full steam ahead. Here's our schedule. We have contingencies in place if this isn't our schedule. Get back to us if we have to go to plan B, but this is plan A. That's what colleges are going with as well.
Baseball yesterday, there was a lot of whispers coming out that I think June 10th was the number. June 10th is the date I keep hearing that players are going to report to some sort of camp. In July 1, they're going to start playing. I mean, it's starting to get leaked through teams to agents to players. This is what we're hearing.
Now, we've got 5 weeks between now and June 10th. They may turn around and go, June 10th can't work. I think the NBA has said they're willing to play as late as Labor Day now is what we're hearing. And if that's the case, that means the playoffs need to start around July 4th. Because the playoffs, if you're going to go best of 7, 4 rounds, you need 2 weeks per round. The playoffs take 2 months. So if the NBA is willing to play this season as late as Labor Day, which if you think about it, when does football start? First full week of college football season's Labor Day weekend, if they start on time, and the NFL doesn't start till after Labor Day. So the NBA is like, hell, we can go as late as Labor Day. Well, that means you've got till July 4th, and then you got to start your playoffs. Now, will they play regular season before then? I mean, I will say they're trying to get in some of these 12 or so games that they haven't played. It would seem to me, Mark, that if that's the case, then in the next 2 weeks, the NBA is going to open up camps. And they're going to bring guys back, and they're going to give them 2-3 weeks to get in shape, and then they'll have 3-4 weeks to play, quote-unquote, regular season games to finish the regular season. That's if they want to get those games in. Do want to mention this one thing. Don McNeil, by the way, longtime Miami Dolphin, under Don Shula. He will join us coming up in about 10 minutes' time. But, Mark, the WWE last night had their lowest rated Raw ever. This thought of if you put it on television, we are foaming at the mouth to watch it, was interesting last night that audience turned away in the biggest numbers ever, and it's not like there was a lot of original network television programming on up against it because most of those shows have pretty much run their course.
It's fascinating, but it was, there's been some pretty off-color jokes about what this looks like without fans, but it sounds weird without fans.
And I said last night it was
Monday night, but I mean it sounds we got the ratings
last night.
It sounds really weird. One other thing, David, we got a text on the chat line from Joe, and I backed it up to make sure he was right, just because I don't want, no offense, I can't take your word for it, but he had texted this. The University of Akron is going to eliminate 6 of its 11 colleges as part of a cost-saving measure. Not college sports.
No.
6 of their colleges.
That doesn't seem like a good thing. Less people getting a chance to get a college education. That just doesn't seem good for Akron or for the kids of Ohio.
To offset $65 to $70 million in losses. This is not college athletics, kids. This is colleges. And if you don't think getting people back on campus is imperative to save the collegiate system, not just collegiate athletics, don't know what to tell you. You're not paying attention.
Mark, you and I have felt for the longest time the MAC should be playing at the FCS level. That FAU and FIU, and I understand FIU just beat the Canes. I get it. Once again, we're not saying you can't beat somebody.
App State beat Michigan when they were FCS. That was before they jumped. Right. It happens. I mean, it happens all the time.
We have just felt for the longest time that with the number of people that go consistently to watch these teams play is in the 15 or so thousand range, which is a very FCS number. And then if you're only getting 15,000 people and you're not getting a ton of TV money, why are you going with 85 scholarships where if you bust your you-know-what and go 7-5, it's a really good season? Why don't you play at the 65 scholarship level where, quite frankly, MAC schools and FAU and FIU could be playing for national championships? I mean, you don't think FIU could challenge North Dakota State if they dropped down 20 scholarships?
And being a Michigander, no one goes to football games at Central, Western, or Eastern Michigan. Ever. They go to the Central Western game, whichever campus that is on. And then some people, they're in the parking lot. They may have tickets. But if they were playing late into the fall for games that mattered,
right,
people
national
show up.
Quarter and semifinals,
Yeah.
I think people would go to that. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Don McNeil, longtime corner for the Miami Dolphins. Before that, he won a couple national championships playing for Paul Bear Bryant. Think of his 2 football coaches, Coach Bryant and Coach Shula. Don McNeil to join us next. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I feel like Tom right now feels supported. All the boxes are being checked that weren't checked in Tampa, including, I bet you Jason Light, the general manager, talked to Tom. They had an hour phone call and said, listen, we need a right tackle. That's going to be our first pick. You think Belichick's telling Tom what his first pick's going to be? No.
Colin Cowherd, weekdays at noon on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
Hey guys, Frank here for Center for Men's Health, where the physicians and staff want you to know that C4MH.com is open and is going to remain open throughout this ordeal. C4MH.com continues to disinfect daily with Microban 24. All patients and staff wear masks, and they will provide you with one to keep. C4MH.com now checks your oxygen level, as a low oxygen saturation level is an early symptom of coronavirus. At C4MH.com, it's always been about doing it safely, and now they've stepped it up to the next level. I've been a C4MH.com patient for years, and I know that safety was always their first concern, but I'm amazed at how they responded to this issue. I just learned that C4MH.com has donated 10,000 gloves, dozens of N95 respirators, and hand sanitizers to hospitals. Their donations to hospitals just confirm that C4MH.com wants frontline health care to be safe as well. C4MH.com, the leaders in low T care.
Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Galliana Kia, and Alfa Romeo Maserati of Fort Myers are taking every precaution to keep you and your family safe with dealer-to-door delivery. Plus, we're making deals we've never made before on over 1,500 new and pre-owned vehicles. Sleek, sophisticated Kia Forte lease, 0 down, $149 per month. Yes, a new Kia for 0 down, $149 per month. loaded, luxurious Grand Cherokee Limited lease. 0 down, $269 per month. That's right, Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. 0 down, $269 per month. Plus, Galliana gives you interest-free financing up to 84 months. No payments for up to 120 days. And prepaid gas for a year. Our parts, service, and body shop are open to serve you at Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Galliana Kia, and Alfa Romeo Maserati of Fort Myers. Call 239-481-2600. GallianaCars.com. 42-month lease on Jeep, 36 months Kia, 10,000 miles per year.
Let me know when we're a minute out, please.
Okay.
Pool need a checkup? Call the doctor, the Pool Doctor.
Hi, Dr. Mark.
And I'll call the guest, obviously.
Changing pool lights can create an after-dark backyard oasis. Pick your color or select one of the light shows. You can see how dramatic it really is on our website. We're a family company. For over 40 years, we've been doing business right.
The prescription is the Pool Doctor for award-winning pool service, repairs, and unheard of $39 diagnostic calls. That's mypooldoctor.com or 239-574-1133. State certified CPC 057088.
I'm a busy person. Catch the show anytime. Check out MillerandMoulton.com and subscribe to the daily podcasts.
We've got our good friend Tim Meister, owner of the Floor Meisters in Naples, on the phone. We're talking about their huge selection and great pricing on Cortec flooring. Tim, tell us what's new at the store.
Right now we have 90 colors of Cortec in stock, ready to go, pick up, put down as soon as you want it. Everything from starting at $299 on up with lifetime warranty.
And it's not just the many colors of Cortec that you have. You also have other Cortec products as well.
We also carry the Cortec stone product. Looks like tile, looks like stone, but it's Cortec, so you get the softness, quietness, and the easy installation to go with it. We also have Cortec wood. Look of wood, real wood, but with a more stable core for Southwest Florida's humidity.
If you haven't been to the Floor Meisters, you really owe it to yourself to
Mark,
visit the store.
McNeil has
6281
MS.
Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco.
George?
Online.
No, Don McNeil. Our
Oh,
next
okay. I'm
guest.
sorry. Okay.
So, just wanted to let you know he's got MS, former pastor. I think he is still a pastor.
We're still finding a lot of roofs with hurricane and windstorm damage. Call us today for a free inspection. Google
Hello?
Don, good morning.
Yes, how you doing?
Very well. This is Mark Miller and David Moulton. Thank you so much for your time. We're going on the air in about 30 seconds. David will go first, and then I will talk second. And again, Don, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
28 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thanks so much for being with us on this Wednesday edition of Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming foxsportsfm.com and broadcasting live on the Miller and Moulton Twitch and YouTube channel. Seth Everett to join us coming up a little less than an hour from now. It is a pleasure to welcome Don McNeil, who for 10 years played for Coach Shula and the Miami Dolphins, helped leading them to 2 Super Bowls. Before that, he was a standout at the University of Alabama.